Whiplash refers to trauma, especially to the upper mid-back, but especially neck, when your head changes position rapidly. This can happen through contact sports, surfing, skiing, a slip and fall, but the most common reason we get whiplash is from a motor vehicle accident. Okay. Now, recent research has actually shown us what the mechanism of injury really is and what the most severe types of whiplash are. So most people think that whiplash refers to this rapid flexion and extension, and that does typically happen, but recent imaging and testing that they've done shows us that actually the worst part of the accident is the initial impact, especially if you're rear-ended is the worst. Being T-boned is obviously not great, but slightly better. Actually being the car that hits somebody, so if it's a front impact for you, that's actually best case scenario. But the part, that initial impact, if you're rear-ended, what happens is you have compressive forces, and the vector of those forces are actually forward and up. So you get smushed at the same time that the neck actually tries to go opposite directions and forms this little S shape. And so that's actually the most severe injury. And with whiplash, what we can see is in between these little spinous processes, there's ligaments that go through here where the two bones come together. That's called a facet joint, and there's a capsule there. There's also ligaments that go up along the front of the spine, and obviously we have discs that can be torn. So there's a lot of tissue that's typically involved, and worst case scenario is actually that there's neurological damage, that whiplash happens so severely that the cord is actually pulled on. So that is the worst case scenario for sure. Even minor accidents can actually result in damage to some of these tissues. So if you or anybody else is ever in a car accident, you may feel fine that day, and then the next day, or the following day, it'll hit you and you'll be really, really sore, really stiff. So I advise anybody that's in a car accident, if it's serious, obviously rule out fracture, dislocation, any of those serious things that you would need like a collar for, that cervical brace. But if not, I would still recommend getting checked out because again, more recent research shows that some of these structures only recover at 60 to 85% structural integrity. So you might deal with long-term issues, and that's the thing that we want to avoid. So that's what whiplash is, and that's what I recommend for anybody in a car accident. Always, always, always get checked out just in case.